Fine. So as far as skeleton is concerned, the human skeleton is like a structural framework. Now, skeleton is present in all kinds of animals, even the lower animals like the invertebrates, such as earthworm, cockroach, or maybe even a starfish. They all have exoskeleton. Exoskeleton means the outer covering. And all higher animals, which includes fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, they all have an exo as well as an endoskeleton. So presence of endoskeleton is just a feature of higher animals, while exoskeleton is found in both lower as well as in higher animals. Now, the exoskeleton can either be skin, or it can be hair, or it can be a cuticle in case of certain worms like the parasitic worms which live inside the intestine. They have a tough cuticle as an exoskeleton. Or it can be scales as in case of fishes, or a moist glandular skin as in case of frogs, feathers in case of birds, etc. So that they are all different forms of exoskeleton, while endoskeleton generally is made up of bones and cartilages. Now, bones and cartilages are both meant for support and also to provide a slight degree of flexibility. Presence of cartilage does provide a slight flexibility in certain regions of our body. So in this chapter, we are mainly going to focus about the human skeleton, which includes the part of bones. Then you have joints, and you also have muscles. Okay. Now, starting with bones. Now, bones are hard, rigid structures composed of both, having a matrix that is made up of both organic as well as inorganic substances. Now, a typical bone will have a protective covering around itself, which is called as the periosteum. Peri means surrounding, and osteon means bone. I repeat, peri means surrounding, and osteon means bone. So, a covering surrounding the bone is called as the periosteum. Now, as far as the bone is concerned, it shows a matrix inside, which is mainly composed of calcium and phosphorus. The inorganic part mainly consists of salts of calcium and phosphorus, and there's an organic part also in the bone. So जब भी हम bone को dip करते हैं किसी acid में, the inorganic part, the mineral part, dissolves away in the acid, and the bone turns soft. It will turn so soft that you can easily tie it in the form of a knot. And when you heat a bone, when you burn it, incinerate it, the organic part burns, leaving behind the mineral content, the inorganic part. So this bone that contains only the inorganic part left behind turns very hard and brittle. That is what happens in old age actually. That gradually with increasing age, the organic content of the bone reduce, and therefore they turn very hard and brittle, and hence fractures are very common in old age. Are you all getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the human skeleton is organized into two regions, two parts, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton includes all those bones which are associated with the central axis of your body. So it includes your bones of the vertebral column, the bones of the rib cage, the bones of your skull, and a hyoid bone. Hyoid is the only bone which is present singly without forming any joint in the body. It does not form a joint, or it is not joined with any other bone in the body, the only bone. And then you have the appendicular skeleton, which includes your limbs and all those bones which help in connecting your limbs to the axial skeleton. So overall, in an adult human, there are how many bones in the body? Anyone?
206.
206 bones. Perfect. And how about in children and infants? में कितने होते हैं?
About 300.
About 300 bones. Yes. About 300 bones in the infants and 206 bones in the adult. Okay. Now, why does the bone count decrease or reduce? Why does the bone count reduce?
One or many bones, no, two or more bones merge together.
Yeah, they fuse together. Correct. Okay, so there are certain bones that will fuse together, and therefore the bone count reduces when an infant grows. Okay. Now, so what you see on your screen right now is the highlighted part of the axial skeleton. So I will just superficially label the different regions of the axial skeleton here for y'all. And then we move ahead with the explanation. So you have the entire skull consisting of 28 bones. Okay, then there will be a single hyoid. It is not seen here on this screen right now. If I'll slightly move it, you will be able to see it. So hyoid is one bone. Okay. Then you have the thoracic cage. Thoracic cage is also known as the rib cage. Thoracic cage consists of about 25 bones. And then you have the vertebral column. The vertebral bone column consists of 26 bones. Okay. So 28 bones of the skull plus one bone in the hyoid, that makes it 29. 29 plus 25 in the thoracic cage, that makes it 54. And 54 plus 26 in the vertebral column, that makes it 80. So your axial skeleton consists of in all 80 bones. Are you all understanding this?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you all clear with this? Okay. Now on the other side, I'll just change 1 minute. Appendicular skeleton अगर मैं select करता हूँ. Wait, I'll clear. अच्छा, before I clear out my annotations, I want you guys to just write this down. You can just give the heading. You can just give the heading human skeleton. Now, coming to the appendicular skeleton. Now, as far as the appendicular skeleton is concerned, the appendicular skeleton mainly includes all those bones which help in your connecting your upper limbs and the lower limbs to the axial skeleton, as well as the bones that are present in the upper and the lower limbs. Okay, so the bones present in your upper and the lower limbs, as well as the bones of the girdles. Now, a girdle is basically the structure that includes the bones which connect your appendicular skeleton with the axial skeleton. So we have two types of girdles in our body. One is the pectoral girdle. We have a pectoral girdle. Also known as the shoulder girdle. Consisting of about 4 bones, 2 on each side. Then we have the bones of the upper limbs. Consisting of 60 bones. 60 bones, it means it's 13 each upper limb. Then we have the hip girdle or the pelvic girdle. Consisting of 2 bones. And then we have the lower limbs. Having 60 bones again. So the total number of bones in the appendicular skeleton is 126. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So please take down this. Take down this part. So now, let us move back to the axial skeleton basically. So this what you see is your axial skeleton consisting of the skull, the vertebral column. If you want to see the hyoid bone, I'll just show it to you all. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Can you see this bone here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this bone just below the chin. Okay, that is the hyoid bone. Okay, generally it is found broken whenever the death occurs by strangulation. So whenever anything is tied around the neck or anyone is strangulated, so this hyoid bone may break. Right, so that becomes an evidence that the death has occurred unnaturally due to strangulation. Fine.
Sir, I have
So-
a question.
Yeah, tell me.
If this bone is not connected to any bone by a joint, so what is it supported by so that it doesn't dislocate?
Yeah, there are cartilages. Below that is the cartilages of the larynx, and above it is connected to that. It regulates the movement of your tongue. Actually, the tendons of the tongue are connected to the hyoid bone.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So if I introduce cartilages in this part, wait, I'll just go back and I'll introduce cartilages here. Introduce muscles also. Give me a minute. See, you getting it?
Yes, sir. Now it's much more clearer.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Now, as far as the appendicular skeleton is concerned, let us first see that in detail. The appendicular skeleton. Now, sorry, we'll first start with the axial skeleton. I'm sorry. We'll start with the axial skeleton. And let me just explore this. Yes. So here we have the different bones of our axial skeleton. Okay. So now your entire skull is made up of about 28 bones. Teeth are not bones, actually. So teeth are not bones. But yeah, otherwise there are 28 bones in your entire skull. So out of those 28 bones, the 8 bones together form the cranium. Cranium is the roof of your skull. I repeat, cranium is the roof of the skull. So let me join this back and let us come to the head. Okay. So we are going to list down the bones in your skull or in your head now. So you can start writing along with me so that you don't have to wait for me to complete. Yeah. So the bones of the skull now. The first region of the skull is the cranium. Consisting of 8 bones overall. Now, in the cranium, it includes 1 frontal bone, 2 parietal, 2 temporal bones, and 1 occipital bone. As well as 1 sphenoid and 1 ethmoid. So in all, these are the 8 bones. Now, out of these 8 bones, 6 of them are external. So these are external bones. Visible from outside, and these are internal. Okay. Now, as far as the cranium is concerned, it serves to protect the brain, and therefore it is also called as the brain box. I repeat, it serves to protect the brain, and therefore it is also called as the brain box. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
So one part of the skull is the cranium, consisting of 8 bones. The other part of the skull is the facial bones. I'll write it on the other side here now. The facial bones are about 14 in number, sorry. 14 facial bones in all. Now in this 14 facial bones, there are 7 external and 7 internal. We'll first write down the 7 external bones. The 7 external bones include 2 nasal bones, 2 zygomatic bones, which are also called as the cheek bones, then the 2 bones in the upper jaw that is called as maxilla. Maxilla is singular, maxillae is plural, and 1 mandible, the lower jaw. Okay. So these are the 7 external bones of the face. 2 nasal bones, 2 zygomatic bones, that is the cheek bones also, the 2 maxillae, that is bones of your upper jaw, and a single mandible. Now coming to the 7 internal. The 7 internal bones include 2 palatine bones there that forms a hard palate, that is the roof of your oral cavity. So 2 palatine bones. Then you have 2 lacrimal bones, present in the eye socket. The 2 lacrimal bones are present in the eye socket. Then you have 2 inferior nasal conchae and a single vomer. So you can see that 7 external, 7 internal bones together making your entire face. And then we have the 6 ear ossicles. I'm sure you all know the names of the ear ossicles. You all have learned that in grade 10. याद है?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So we have malleus. What is malleus also called?
The hammer.
Yes, it is also called as the hammer. So one malleus in each, so that is 2. One malleus in each ear, basically. Then you have the incus. What is the incus also called? The anvil. Again, one in each ear. And then there is the stapes. Stapes or the stirrup. Which is also 2 bones. So देखो overall, cranium के 8 bones, facial bones 14, and ear ossicles 6. That makes up 28 bones of your skull. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Have you all finished writing?
Sir,
हाँ बोलो बेटा.
sir, are the concha and turbinates same?
Are the concha and
Turbinate.
I don't understand. Concha and
Turbinates.
terminate.
Yes.
Can you spell that? Terminate.
T-U-R-B. Sir, I don't know the spelling, but I think it's T-U-R-B-I-N-A-T-E-S.
Just let me check. I'm going to terminate. I'll have to see it. No, I don't think so. No, it passes through the turbinates actually. That is the inferior turbinate. The inferior nasal concha is also called as the inferior turbinate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So have you finished writing, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll just explore this skull right now. Okay. So now we can see the sphenoid. ये जो है ये sphenoid bone है. यहाँ पे 1 minute. Yeah. See, this is the sphenoid. दिख रहा है somewhat butterfly shape. This one. Okay, I can assemble that together and I can show it to you all. No, not from here. Wait, I'll show it to you all from the skull point of view. Wait. Yeah, so you can see this is the sphenoid bone. Are you getting it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
The sphenoid has a cavity here. This is called as a sella turcica. Okay, that sella turcica is the cavity or the depression in the sphenoid bone where the pituitary gland is lodged. All right. So यहाँ पे होता है ये region में pituitary. All right. Now, coming back. Yeah. See the positioning of the ethmoid. Can you see it? The green में highlight हुआ है. I'll isolate the ethmoid of course. You can see this. This is the ethmoid. Are you getting it? No. Now coming to the bones. So sphenoid and ethmoid are the internal bones. This is the frontal bone. Okay. Then this is the parietal. Parietal दूसरे side पे भी होगा ऐसा. So ये दूसरा parietal हुआ. Then here on the sides is the temporal. Okay. So this side also you will have the temporal bone. Here it is. And then at the back we have the occipital bone. This is the occipital bone. Now this occipital bone at its posterior side, at the lower side, has a large opening. Can you see this large opening here? I'll just reduce the size. Can you see a large opening here in the sphenoid, in the
Yes, sir.
occipital bone? Yeah, this large opening is basically called as the foramen magnum. This large opening is called as the foramen magnum. Okay, foramen means an opening and magnum means large. It's a very large opening through which the spinal cord emerges out from the skull and continues downwards into the vertebral column. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I have to show you all the foramen magnum, yeah, ये जो purple में highlighted part है, that is the foramen magnum. Okay. Now, getting back. So that was the
Yes,
skull. That was the cranium. Now coming to the bones, external bones of the face. So this is the maxilla, one maxilla, and this is the second maxilla. So the two maxillae, and then we have the zygomatic or the cheekbone on the left and on the right. So that is 4 total. Then the two nasal bones here, 1 and 2. That makes it 6. And the 7th one is the mandible, the lower jaw. The only movable bone in the entire skull is the lower jaw. Mind well, the only movable bone in the entire skull is the lower jaw. So this is the mandible. Now, so 7 external bones. We have 7 internal bones also. Sorry. The 7 internal bones include the lacrimal bones. Here, wait. Yeah. So see, अगर मैं इसको ऐसे straight रखूँ, तो can you see a lacrimal bone here? No, not visible, right? But अगर इसको मैं side करता हूँ, sideways face करता हूँ, so you can easily see, right?
Yes.
So it's an internal bone. So यहाँ पे here it is. This is the lacrimal bone. Then coming to the inferior nasal concha, here it is. Can you see this inferior nasal concha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and on the other side also I can show it. This one here is on the other side. Okay. Now, the floor of the nose is formed by the boomer. I'll show you all the boomer here. Yeah, this ridge is the boomer. दिख रहा है?
Yes, the one in the center, right?
Yeah, the one in the center in
Very
green.
thin one. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So if I isolate it, आपको पता चलेगा ये देखो. Okay. So this is how it looks like.
Yes, sir.
Now, and yeah, the palatine bones. वो हम इसको उल्टा करेंगे तो दिखेगा हमें. Here we have it. This is one palatine bone. Sorry, here it is. This is one palatine bone, and this is the other palatine bone. Getting it? So we have the
Yes,
two
sir.
palatine bones. Okay. So those are the bones of your face. Now the ear ossicles we are already aware of. वो इसमें दिखेगा नहीं. So we are already aware of the 3 ear ossicles, the malleus, incus, and the stapes. They are present in the middle ear, and they are meant for amplification of the sound. The purpose of ear ossicles or the function of ear ossicles is to amplify the sound. Now, so are we clear with the bones of the skull?
Yes, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask you one more thing is that these bones in the skull are not joined by a joint as such. So they are not fused also. So how
No,
are they
they're all
connected to each other?
they're all fused. See, they're all locked. ये देखो.
Like fused as in fused into one bone. So how is that? How are they fused?
It is by serrated margins. The margins have a zigzag. See, ये एक bone है. उसका margin देखोगे तो ऐसे serrated होता है. दिख रहा है? It is like a puzzle piece.
Acha, yes.
they all get interlocked.
Okay.
Okay. और खाली ये जो mandible जो है, if I put in connective tissues here, yeah, so ये देखो mandible में you will have these, ये देखो ये, this is a ligament connecting bone to a bone. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
So because यहाँ पे ये ligament है, तो इसके लिए वो उसको fuse करके रखता है ठीक से, and it is kind of movable basically.
Okay, it's movable because of the ligament. There's no joint over there as such, right?
Yeah, so we can elevate and depress. It's an elevator and a depressor kind of movement basically. So we can open and
Yes.
close the mouth. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Fine.
Yes,
Is
I
that
got
clear?
it.
Yeah. So I can actually show you all the malleus from here. Ear drum नहीं है ना, तो ये देखो ये green color का यहाँ पे highlighted portion दिख रहा है, एक छोटा सा, ये देखो, हाँ, मस्त व्यू आया. See this, all of you? Can you see
Yes,
the 3
sir.
ear ossicles? Wait, I'll go back to
Yes,
that
sir.
side. Yeah, here we go. This is the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. समझा ये तीनों? So
Yes,
we are
sir.
right now inside the skull actually. Inside. अब बाहर निकलते हैं वहां से. Right? Okay. So we are good with the bones of the skull. So now let us move on to the bones of the next region. That is, let us take up the vertebral column. Okay. The vertebral column basically consists of 26 ring-like bones in adults, while in children there are 33. Okay. So let us just write down the count of the bones of the vertebral column. So you can write it along with me simultaneously, so you don't waste time. So you can just give the heading vertebral column. "26 bones in adults." Huh? First 7 are cervical, present in the neck region. Then you have 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 1 sacrum. This one sacrum is actually formed by fusion of 5 bones. So in infants rather, not children, in infants, there are 5 separate bones in the sacral region, but in adults, it fuses to form a single sacrum. And there is a single coccyx, which are actually 4 different bones in infants. So if we add up 7 plus 12, 19, 19 plus 5, 24, 24 plus 1, 25, plus 126. और अगर हम चिल्ड्रन में देखने जाए तो इट इज 7 plus 12, 19, 19 plus 5, 24, plus 5, 29, plus 4, 33. So in infants it will be 33 bones, while in adults it is 26. So these are 26 ring-like bones basically. Now each bone of the vertebra has a central space that is called as the centrum. I'll just show that to you all. Give me a minute. You see here, this is the centrum here. If I just highlight the different regions very quickly to you all. Now this portion here, this is the body or the centrum. I repeat, this is the body or the centrum in pink color. That is the main cylinder or the main part of your vertebral column. Then in the center, you can see this. जो purple color में highlight हुआ है basically. That is the foramen. Foramen means an opening, also called as the neural canal. Now, under natural conditions, the spinal cord passes through the neural canal. Are you getting it? Under natural condition, the spinal cord will pass through the neural canal. अब ये bone का actual position है body में. Actually वो ऐसा place होता है. Okay. And this is the neural spine. This pink colored portion is the neural spine. Then these two sideward finger-like projections are called as the transverse processes. You can see here, each one of these are called as the transverse processes. Are you all getting it? So this is
Yes,
the centrum. Centrum is also called as the body. This is the spinous process. All right. Then here this purple colored portion is the neural canal through which the spinal cord passes. This is one transverse process. This is another transverse process. And these are articular facets for the ribs. Okay, actually ribs ka, Now, if you see here, can you see these white colored spots here?
Yes.
Wait, I'll move on to the surfaces. Highlighting why. To see this. जो अभी green में highlight हुआ है, that is a facet for the sixth rib basically. Okay, it is a facet for the rib joint here. Now this also is a facet. Okay, so 1 and 2. So there are two facets. Facet means the area where it joins. Okay. Now, at this point, it fuses with the vertebra below it. उसके नीचे का जो vertebral bone होगा, उसके साथ वो join होगा. And at this point, it joins with the vertebra present above it. I will show that to you all. Give me a minute. We will do multiple selection and we will see this. So can you all see?
Yes, sir. So the rib cage arises from there, the individual ribs.
Yes, the ribs arise from the vertebral column. So that is what is called as a thoracic cage.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And can you see how the two vertebral bones are joined here at this region?
Yes.
Okay, अगर मैं ribs निकाल दूँ तो थोड़ा better हो जाएगा समझने में. I'll just remove the ribs also. Give me a minute. I'll remove the selection of the ribs. So now see how they will fit in. Huh? I'll assemble it together. So देखो, दिख रहा है कैसे fused है?
Yes.
But again, see, their bodies are not completely touching each other. There are gaps in between. Can you see these gaps? Now these are actually not gaps. There will be a cartilage in between. Okay, that is called as the intervertebral disc or the gristle. So if I introduce that cartilage, आपको समझ में आएगा. रुक जाओ.
And because of that cartilage, we can bend our spine, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it does not. It reduces friction between the bones of the vertebral column. Now, can you see this? The white color का
Yes.
portion जो है, that's the intervertebral disc. Are you all getting it?
Yes, sir.
So sometimes the thickness of the cartilage may reduce. It can increase friction, pain, and also the compression of the nerves that are coming out through that region. And sometimes the cartilage may get dislocated. That condition is called as a slip disc. Fine, all the three of you, Shreyas and Rajas, are you all understanding this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is about the vertebral column. In all, there are 26 bones in the vertebral column in a human adult. Okay. Now coming to the thoracic cage or the rib cage. Now, the thoracic or the rib cage is formed by 25 bones. I repeat, the thoracic or the rib cage is formed by the 25 bones. Okay. Wait. There's one single bone called Sternum in the center, which is highlighted right now on your screen. And then you have the 12 pairs of ribs. Okay. Now, if I have to number these ribs, just pay attention how I do it here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you see, each one of these 7 pairs of ribs have their own cartilage. मैं कुछ अलग कलर में यूज करता हूँ उसको. तो देखो ये कार्टिलेज हुआ यहाँ पे भी एक कार्टिलेज हुआ. So they all have their own cartilage and they directly join at various regions along the sternum, along the length of the sternum. This is the 5th pair of cartilage, the 6th pair of cartilage, even the 7th cartilage, although it is in between forming a kind of a bridge with the 6th cartilage, but still the 7th cartilage joins to the sternum. It extends up to the sternum as well. Are you all getting it?
Yes, sir.
So because the first 7 pair of ribs connect to the sternum via their own cartilages, these are hyaline cartilages in nature. Hyaline cartilage is a type of a soft cartilage. Okay, it is one of the most primitive cartilages. It's a soft cartilage. So coming to this thoracic cage, consisting of 25 bones. So first to 7th pair it's called 2 ribs. Then 8th to the 10th pair. Are called as false ribs. And the 11th and the 12th pair are called floating ribs. Why floating? Because they are not connected to the sternum at all. Are you getting it? While
Yes, sir.
if we see the cartilage of the 7th, 8th, 8th, 9th, and the 10th pair of rib, अब ये देखो ये 8th वाले का कार्टिलेज, एक मिनट, I'll just increase the thickness. See, this is the cartilage of the 8th, the cartilage of the 9th, and यहाँ से 10th का आ रहा है. Okay. So these cartilages do not connect the ribs directly to the sternum. Are you getting this? And hence these 8th, 9th, and the 10th pair of ribs are called as the false ribs. While the 11th and the 12th pair of ribs do not connect to the sternum at all, and therefore they are called as floating ribs. So we have the mandible in the center and 12 pairs of ribs. So in all 25 bones. So now let us see the different. I hope everyone had written. बाकी है किसी का?
No, sir.
Okay. If you see the floating ribs here, पीछे से दिख जाएगा clearly एकदम. And you'll see the floating ribs.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they partially protect the kidneys, partially, not wholly, but partially. Now let me kind of isolate the sternum. Now this pink colored part which is highlighted is called as the body of the sternum. This upper portion is called as the manubrium, and the lowermost portion is called as the xiphoid process. The diaphragm is attached to the xiphoid process. So movement of the diaphragm is controlled by the sternum. The diaphragm kind of rises and becomes flat. It becomes dome shaped and becomes flat. So that movement is actually regulated by the sternum. Okay, so diaphragm is attached to the xiphoid process of the sternum. I hope it's clear to all of you. So the three regions of the sternum are the manubrium, then you have the body, and you have the xiphoid process. Now, and you can just add in your books single hyoid bone. Hyoid के लिए आप just लिख सकते हो one single bone. Here you can see the hyoid has been highlighted here. So it is the attachment site for many muscles and ligaments which keep it suspended in the neck. So those muscles and the ligaments will keep the bone suspended in the neck. All right. Fine. So we are done with our entire axial skeleton today. And wait, I'll just close the screen.